What's going on, IG? What's going on, YouTube? Hold on, I totally forgot to set up my mic. There you go. Yeah. 1, 2, test. YouTube, if you can hear me, let me know. What's going on, guys? Topic is very exciting. Practical advice for colorists. Okay? You could be up-and-comer. You could be a colorist for a while. What's up, Manny? Hey, Manny, can you tell me if you can hear me, brother? Hi, baby. Wife is live. And so what I want to talk about today is practical advice for colorists, and that's going to go for, like I said, if you're a beginner, if you've been doing it for a while, if you're a filmmaker. Most of you guys here are filmmakers, and that's how it should be in this day and age. Having multiple skills, that's a big thumbs up, and because you can upsell really easily, right? So I mean, you're a colorist. You can offer to shoot, and if you shoot something, you can offer to color. So it goes hand in hand. Very important. All right, let's jump right in. Okay, I'm gonna pop open my notes. Here are my notes. All right, so let's get started. So first thing I'm gonna talk about is invest in a decent monitor. So, you know, I'm not talking about thousands of dollars, right? I'm getting you started. I'm just giving you something. So I'm talking about BenQ makes amazing products, and they don't pay me for anything. Although I'm gonna be doing a review on one of their monitors, unbiased. Like, it's gonna be my opinion. I haven't even opened it yet. They sent it to me weeks ago, and it's just sitting in the garage collecting dust. I'm gonna do a review in a week or two, but it's gonna be all practical stuff. I'm not gonna be reading any user guides. I'm gonna tell you if it's good enough. If it's not good enough, don't waste your time. But they know what they're doing. Their stuff is really good out of the box, and some of their monitors come calibrated. I would highly recommend look into their PV, which is professional video series, or SW series. So those are the two that I would recommend if you're going for a budget option under $1,000. I'm making assumptions. I'm assuming that everybody here is brand new, or like, you know, maybe somewhat intermediate, but not really a pro colorist. Even if you're a pro colorist, BenQ makes amazing monitors. So that's number one. Okay, invest in a decent monitor. Basically what it's going to do, why I want you to invest in a monitor, is that it's going to take the guesswork out, right? So it's going to get you that much, it's going to get you there that much faster, right? And that's important as a colorist. You're going through tons of shots. You don't want to be fatigued by, does this look right? Do I have to do a gamma correction because I know when I export it, it's going to look like this or that? So you want to take that work out of the picture. So then, you know, you work on something and you know exactly this is how it's going to look on the other end. Now, you're not going to get that close with a consumer monitor. That's why broadcast monitors are so expensive. That said, it's a very important tool. It's the tool that's going to give you that inherent confidence that you need. So when you're talking to your client, you can say, well, on a calibrated screen, it looks like this. So decent monitor, don't break your bank, decent monitor, number one. Number two, get yourself a half decent system. So I'm going to take you through specs, probably, you know, grab a notebook, write some things, because this is just data. So I am a Mac user. I'm going to talk about Mac. All the PC users out there, I've used PC too. DaVinci Resolve works really well on a Mac than a PC, and there's many different factors, you know, that go into it, and you can read up online. But that is my choice of, you know, that's the weapon that I use. So it's an iMac. You can get any system as long as you have minimum, I would say, 6 to 8 cores. 8 cores are actually sort of preferred nowadays because 4K is just so readily available. I mean, your phone is shooting 4K and compressed. Anything that's compressed, it's harder for the processor to process. So you need a little bit of a faster processor and more cores and faster cores. So 8 cores would be minimum. That's my recommendation. i7, i9, look into those options. Then I will say, in terms of RAM, 32 gigs minimum. That should be a threshold. Unless you're using a laptop, then 16 you got what you got. So then you can work with 16. What's up, Josh? See you, brother. So then you can go with 16 gigs, but I would say 32 is where you have some wiggle room. Not really, because Resolve is power hungry. It's going to eat up anything that you throw at it. In terms of your storage, that is most of the time people's biggest bottleneck. People just don't even know how important that is. So having a pretty strong, pretty solid storage is very important. I just dropped, I don't even want to think about it. Dropped a lot of money getting NVMEs. I don't know if you guys are familiar. If you guys are not familiar, look them up. They're like the next level to SSD. So each one gives me like a 3000 read and write. And I got 4 of them. And I sandwiched it into a OWC box and through a Thunderbolt. So then I'm getting about 1800 read and write, like around 2000 read, which is really good. Like I'm basically set, even if I'm, working on 8K, 12K footage, I'm set. Like it can really handle it. And the best thing about it is that it doesn't need to, there is no spinning drive. So everything is always available. Once it's cached, it's there. So I just click on my gallery stills and they don't open. They're always open. They don't need to process and open it again. So that's a really big one, and eventually could be a huge time saver. I was genuinely going to try it out and see if I liked it. If I didn't, I was going to return it. And the first 30 minutes in, and I'm sticking with it. So faster hard drives, that could be the biggest bottleneck in your system right now. Before you upgrade your GPU and processor and all those other things, think about that. GPU. Okay, so talking about GPU is super, super important when it comes to color grading. Load it up. The faster the better. So you really need to pay attention to that. I would say 8 gig minimum if you guys are starting out. 8 gig would be minimum, but ideally, obviously, more than that. So I would say 16 gig is decent. I have a 16 in my iMac Pro, and then I got an additional 16 through an eGPU connected through Thunderbolt 3, and I want more. I think it's good. It still chokes when I have noise reduction and stuff applied to it. So like I said, Resolve is power hungry. So that's that about the specs. So I would say, I gave you the lower tier specs too, so keep those in mind for a half decent system. So bare minimum. Let's talk about bare minimum. I wouldn't say 4-core processor. I would still say 8-core, but let's just say 4-core bare minimum. 16 gigs of RAM bare minimum. 8 gigs of GPU bare minimum. Hard drive that can run about 300 read and write bare minimum. Okay, so those are bare minimum requirements. Third tip would be having a mentor, but one. So follow one dude, right? So if you're just starting out, you go online and you find a colorist. If you want to learn color grading, don't go out and just go and listen to any and everyone, because it's gonna drive you crazy. So you don't want to do that. Stay focused and find a dude or a girl, find someone that you resonate with and it just makes sense to you. Stick with them. Just stick with them, and that's it. Game over. And that's gonna help you so much, because that's that thing, right? We go to college because there is a structure. Start to finish. That's what we like. Or else everybody would be learning just on YouTube, right? The reason why we go to college and pay hundreds of thousands of dollars is because we want that start to finish roadmap. And that's why it's very important to follow one person, because you can start picking up on their whole journey, and then you can improve as you learn more about them and what they're teaching. And on that note, I just cannot not talk about my masterclass, because you have 7 o'clock, you have 5 hours left. 5 hours and the class is gone. So you guys can see it on there. It has a timer right there. YouTube, you're looking at the timer. Check it out. Instagram, 4 hours and 59 minutes left to sign up for my masterclass. So yes, speaking of mentors, get the right mentor. And I'm the right mentor. You know it. Worked with tons of big companies, Toyota, Honda, Vizio, the list goes on. And everything that you're learning here is just going to be, something that not only beginner colorists need, but everything in between. If you're starting out, if you're intermediate, let's just say if you're intermediate and you're like, I know about shot matching, I know about color grading, bro, I know about studio setups. This right here will pay itself off in less than a day. Like that right there. That's over a decade worth of experience. And look at Hey DJ just said FCM is amazing. So people are just dropping in comments. Thank you so much. But it just truly is, people are loving it so much. Over 600 members in less than 7 months. It's absurd, and non-existent refund rate. So people are not returning the class. They're loving it. The ones that do return it every now and then could be like, hey, I just need money for this or that thing, whatever. And that's about it. Everybody's freaking loving it. 4.5 hours left. If I were you, I would go jump on it. I don't know when I'm going to re-release it. Probably in fall. That's my plan. Unless, you guys go crazy and I have to relaunch it. I might relaunch it in between. But most of the time, the strategy is to just put out content, and that's that, right? You guys are learning and everything is good. And I give you guys how to create this look and that look. The difference between those things and this class is what I was saying earlier, the structure. So if you need the structure, if you need the start to finish, if you need to become profitable, start making money with this and not just look at it as a hobby, then that's that. Then you need this. Then it's a must. So those are the things that you just got to think about. You have to decide ultimately, what's your goal? Where do you want to go with this whole thing? So like I said, over 600 members, 23 hours of content, 157 training videos, course materials that you get. I got connected with some of the best cinematographers out there worldwide, and they gave me access to their footage. I'm also using projects that I worked on and got paid for that footage that you get to work with and grade with me. So I talk about all the shot matching techniques, how to grade faster, how to pre-plan before you even get to the, grading aspect of it, how to work with your camera, whatever camera that you have, how to get the best results out of it. How many of you probably have a red cam or work with red cam, got the footage, didn't know what to do with it? So these things are real. These things are important. Grading is super hot right now. So, it's something, if you're interested, 4 or 5 hours left, definitely sign up. That said, stuff is going to keep coming, right? So, free content is going to be there. YouTube videos are going to keep going. IG is going to keep going. The course, Toby just asked, yes, so the course is stream based, right? So once you get it, you have access right away. You can download the course materials. And once you get it, you have a lifetime access. But the thing is, if you don't sign up tonight, the website vanishes, and then I won't put the website back up until I want to, which is going to be, like I said, fall. So if you sign up right now, you get access to it, and you have a lifetime access. So once you get it, you got it. Gope. Yes. So brother, yeah. So that's what I'm saying. You have to sign up now, because if you don't, then I won't be putting it out for a little bit. Honestly, if you guys follow me, you guys understand my style, you guys see what I do. It makes sense to take it to the next level. And the tips that you get throughout the course are not just all hard skills in terms of color grading. They're more practical tips that are going to help you get to that next level and in your career. Doesn't matter. You could be an editor, you could be a cinematographer, because I'm coming from that background. I went to school for, what's up, Aaron? Aaron just joined. Aaron Stone. Let's go, brother. So I'm coming from a cinematography background. I'm a cinematographer first, then an editor, then a colorist. So all those things help. And those things are in here. So when I'm talking to you, I'm not a traditional colorist who only knows, to talk about color grading stuff. I'm going to be talking about how to become profitable, what are the techniques that you can use, and what are the steps that you can take to really blow up your career. All right, let's move on. Let's get back to the tips. And now I want to talk about a very important tip, and that is develop a second skill. This one is a game changer. I'm not joking. So again, let's go back to I'm a cinematographer and editor first. So I graduated, majored in cinematography, minor in editing. When I came out to California from Chicago, I just started working as an editor more than a cinematographer, because I didn't have money to buy a camera, and all these kids were just running around with their Reds here. And I'm like, I have such a, crazy disadvantage unless I have a good camera. Well, that's on me. Like, I mean, I still could have made something happen, but I feel like back in the day and just fresh out of college, I just kind of took it hard, and I just thought that if I don't have a good camera, I can't be a cinematographer. So I went with the editorial route. So that's what I'm talking about, having multiple skills. But for a colorist, it's so freaking important, because what makes me a really good colorist is that I am a cinematographer. I've used pretty much any and every camera that you can think of. So I understand what happens on the other side. I know how much I can push my image and what I can do to it in post. And then knowing post helps me be a better shooter, because I know what I can do, on the field. So it goes hand in hand, like I said. So not only it will help your craft, it can keep the checks rolling, right? So, I mean, it's the thing about color grading is that, yes, it pays so much and it's amazing. It's quick. Like, you're working on a commercial, you're there for a day. You're working on a branded content, you're there for 2 to 3 days. It's not like editing where you could be on a project for a month. It's not like shooting where you could be on a project for like 7 days and they're paying you for traveling and gear and all that stuff. So having another skill has always helped me staying profitable, because I provide services as an editor, cinematographer, creative director, and colorist, and all of those at their best. Like, I'm not just like providing subpar services for all those other things and then I'm a colorist. I'm part of Editors Guild. So like, I can edit, and then I can color on top of that. Not to mention, my second point is learning to edit is very important for colorists, because if you guys are starting out, and again, a lot of us nowadays have this in our DNA. We're shooters, we're storytellers, we're content creators. Like me, at this point today in 2020, I might as well start calling myself a content creator, because that's all I'm doing. Hunter just joined. Let's go, brother. So like, I'm a content creator, right? Like, I'm pumping out content and like whatever's, and then try to make it look good, right? And then I get discovered, and then people hit me up. And if you guys watch my recent YouTube video, that was the whole journey, right? I landed a commercial, that started as a branded content gig, and this guy discovered me on YouTube. So one thing to the next and the next to the next. So knowing these skills are very important in this day and age, because it can help you with your career at a point that you cannot even fathom. So just remember, editing. Another big thing about if you learn to edit is that you can upsell color grading. So when I started out as a colorist back in 2011, I wasn't a colorist. I mean, and I was self-taught at the time. So what I was doing is I would edit and I would do a really good job. Karam just joined FCM. Let's go, Karam Abu. Like, let's go, brother. So what I would do is I would edit, put together a really, really rad edit, and then I would just go in and I would throw in a grade. I wouldn't even ask for money or anything. I would just put in extra 4 hours on my own, and I would just like experiment with it and try to create something, and then I'll just give them 2 versions. So I would give them like a Rec 709 version, and I would give them like my graded version at the time. It's so embarrassing. I don't even want to look at those clips. They do exist in the vault, but nobody will ever know. But Aaron just joined. What's going on, brother? And I would just do that. I would just go and I would look at it, and I would send them the edit. And what would happen is that these guys would just lose their mind. They would be like, what did you just do? Like, what happened? This looks like a movie. This looks cinematic. They would just always say, this looks so cinematic. And then when that started happening, it was very easy for me to tell them next time that, hey, it's going to be this much. And I would tack it to my editorial services, right? So editorial and finishing. So that's how the whole journey started. So that's a big gem right there. Pro tip, like, it started with editing and then an easy like lead in. The upsell is very easy. If you already have the project, the client is already hot. You already got a hot lead, and then to convert them and upsell them to like, color grading is really easy. So I think that was probably one of the most beneficial skills that I have as a filmmaker. And I will highly recommend, encourage everyone to learn editing, learn cinematography. Those two things will help you exponentially when it comes to color grading. All right, now I want to talk about things that you shouldn't be wasting your time on. Do not waste time on the following, please. I beg you. Number one, the amount of time you guys ask me that how can you grade an ACES or how can you grade an HDR or Dolby Vision, knock it off. Just stop it. Like, we're not ready for it. Okay, we're not ready for it. The places that are requiring HDR right now are Netflix, Hulu, Amazon, the end. That's it. Okay? So unless you're working for them, which you're not, because most of those gigs are going to the same 3 or 4 top like companies that monopolize the whole industry, just stop it. Like, please learn color grading first and then worry about color science and like what to do in there and like how to set up your project and what are ODTs and what you should be exporting it to and what should your color science be. I know people that don't start color grading because they need to know first how to properly set up ACES or HDR. What are you doing? Your monitor doesn't even support HDR. I know that for a fact. Even the monitors that say HDR don't support HDR. Do you know that? The monitor that I am going to be reviewing next week, in a big bold text it says HDR. It's not an HDR monitor. And I'm going to bust that myth. What's up, Kyle? Kyle just joined. And I'm going to bust that myth like when I do a review for BenQ. And hopefully BenQ is listening because they got to stop doing this. Like, they put HDR monitor, yet it only supports 350 nits. Yet it barely supports Rec 2020. It's not HDR, So this is what I'm talking about. Like, so many people out there are like just consumed by the things that they're hearing. And they're just like, man, I can't start my color grading career because I need to learn how to grade in HDR. I need to understand CST and I need to understand ODT and these big cute words that they see on forums. And then they just think that this is what I need to know before I do anything in life. So Rec 709, which is set as a default. Cam just asked, hey, will your masterclass be offered again? Yes, brother, the masterclass will be offered again. It's not going to be offered again anytime soon. So I'm thinking about right now, I'm aiming for fall. And if anything changes, then that's that. But right now it's set for fall. All right. So what I'm talking about is like, and let me just tell you this. The people that ask me to do Dolby Vision color grade, proper Dolby Vision color grading, your monitor needs to support up to 3,000 nits. You know how much those monitors cost? They start at $35,000 and more. So get what I'm saying? Like, just stick with Rec 709 for a few years if you can, because that's what's being pushed through the web. sRGB, Rec 709, same thing, or what commercials are using. Like, TVs are not moving to HDR and, 4K anytime soon. So unless broadcast gets to that point, we're not there yet. So trust me, just drop that whole thing and your time will be well spent, like, on learning actually, like, color grading from ground up, like the actual foundation, like literally what I take so much pride in. And like, anytime I see a comment on YouTube or Instagram, or when people join my freelance colorist masterclass, they tell me that, dude, it's so freaking amazing to finally see someone who doesn't start off with a freaking LUT. It's so great to see someone who's not selling a LUT and showing us how to properly do things. And I learned, my mentor has done a lot of stuff in HDR for Netflix. And that's the guy that I learned from. And if you see his node tree and how he sets it up, it's like, a lot of it is actually trickling down from him to like what I'm doing. But I added my own sauce on top of it. But the primaries game, do most of your heavy lifting with your primaries came from him. I will not take any credit away from him. It was him. He's the one who taught me that. And he told me that this is how it goes down in the industry. That's what's happening. do most of your heavy lifting with your primaries because you're going to have the cleanest image possible. So those are the things that I share with you guys. Whether you get my masterclass or not, I don't hide anything. I don't keep anything from you guys. The only thing that you guys don't get access to is the course materials to practice along. It's because most of the time I'm working with people that are shooting this footage for a commercial or whatever it is. I cannot give that out to you to public, but I can give that to people that are part of my masterclass because that's the contract that I have with those people. So that's why the masterclass has that extra benefit, because you get to practice along while I take you through everything. So, all right, moving on. Stop looking for quick ways to grade. All right, you know, that's got to go too, right? I mean, I stopped doing that back in 2012 when, you know, Red Giant's Magic Bullet just got to a point that I'm like, you know what? It's got to go. I mean, something is not right. I mean, I didn't know much back in the day, but I was like, something is just not right. As soon as I applied this effect or plugin, you know, I'm just like choked. My look is choked. I can't really do much with it. It's got to go. So keep that in mind. Very important. And another thing that LUTs and plugins do, they cripple you, right? So as soon as you apply it, a lot of people, like I hear they say, well, I apply looks because it gives me an inspiration what kind of looks I can create. Nope, it's the opposite. As soon as you apply a look, now you got a bias toward what your image should look like. So now it's dictated by some Joe's LUT that you just applied on your image. Is that how you want to tell that story? Isn't the whole point of color grading is to express, you know, that emotion, you know, in a more sophisticated way? That's the whole point of it. So if you're just caking on like LUTs or plugins, it's really cute that, you know, maybe you'll fool 5 people, but that's just not the way to do it. You can do it once you learn the proper ways, then use LUTs to your advantage, you know? Don't be a LUT B, make LUTs your B. And you can do that like how you see me in the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. There was no way around it because they actually used a negative like Kodak, like 5219. They actually shot on film and they used that specific Vision 3 Kodak 5219 LUT, or not LUT, negative. So then for me to get there, I had to drop that film emulation LUT on there onto my image to get most of that DNA in the right place and then work off of that. So, you know, like I said, learn before you break those rules. Very, very important. Thank you all that joined and that are here. Like I'm gonna still keep going, but thank you so much. I love you guys. I mean, there's so many people that show up and you know, show so much support. So it means the world to me. I'm gonna talk about okay. So the third one is pretty shameless, and that one again we're gonna go back to, you know, why I keep persisting and telling you guys that this is a good investment. The masterclass, 4 hours left to sign up. Why it's important, because I haven't seen a lot of content out there right now where they're showing you everything from start to finish besides my content. I see a lot of content out there that starts off with a LUT and then they do 2 nodes and they're calling it a Joker look. I mean, please, come on. You gotta give the or the colorist, you know, that put in some work, you know, and you can't just like pop your collars, you know, drop in 2, you know, things and then drop in a LUT and call it a Joker look. It just doesn't work like that. At the same time, I'm not saying that, you know, Hollywood colorists are immortal and like anything that they're doing, we can't do them. I'm just saying that you just got to put some heart and soul into it, and it has to be done right. And I'm showing you all those ways. I mean, it's like 10 years of experience, just like, you know, like trickled down into one thing that is freaking 157 videos, total videos, and 23 hours plus like of content. Like I said, I'm an editor. I can cut. And when you watch these things, they're quick. Like there is no ums and ahs, and you get 23 hours of that content to practice along with. So you get all those things. Jeremy just joined. Jeremy Sheldon. Let's go, brother. So, you know, I do want to turn things around on the screen so you guys can see a few things that I want to show you. But, I mean, look at it, right? So, I mean, I just want to show you this. I just want to take you through it because it's like it's carefully put together, right? So Conform is like one of the hottest topics, right? Everybody talks about, Kazi, I work in Premiere Pro. How do I bring my footage into Resolve? Well, there's right and wrong ways to do it, right? I'm going to show you right and wrong. I'm going to show you easy and fast way, and I'm going to show you the proper way, quote unquote, and all those ways, and like how to go about it. It's only in one module, and we have like 6 more left. Then in cameras, that's like another huge one. Like one thing that I've always noticed people struggle with is that even like people that call, quote unquote themselves colorists, they're just like, hey man, the biggest, problem that I have is I'm okay when I'm working with my camera. Let's just say this person owns a Red. He's like, I'm okay when I'm working with my camera, but when I'm grading like Alexa footage and when I try to match the two, it's really impossible. Well, I can tell you right now, it is really hard to match footage from 2 different camera manufacturers, but at the same time, in this video or in this course, I show you all the ways. I'm going to take footage. I'm going to work on a project that has Rec 7 or 9 footage, that has log footage, that has raw footage, that has footage from all kinds of different cameras, and we're going to try to match all of that, and we're going to do it efficiently. So that's the kind of stuff that I'm talking about. Like really become a freaking colorist. Like that color is gonna go in your freaking soul, in your bone. Like you'll know it inside out, and that's the beauty. That's what separates my course than anything else that's out there, and that's why I'm so convinced that it works. Color correction, I mean, that's the name of the game. That's 80% of your job. That's 80% of the money that you're making every year. I say that every time, and I'm going to keep repeating it until you guys hear me, because what happens is that people skip this step and they move straight to color grading because that's the sexy part. Well, just understand, when you're working on stuff, especially low budget stuff, whether it's corporate videos, documentaries, branded content, things like that, these guys are not looking for a risk. Like they just want, like they're barely artists. They're businessmen, so they just want something that looks poppy, that looks good. Well, what's poppy? What's good? Let me show you. I show you all of those things and then some in color correction. So much goes into color correction. It was one of my favorite modules. Shot matching. So that's everybody, like I said, I mean, that's the biggest myth, right? Like how many different ways you can go about it. Even this project that you're looking at here is shot with the same camera, same lens, same lighting condition. And when you look at these shots, you're going to be surprised. And this is a real world example. This is a real project that I worked on, got paid, and then asked the director, and he loved me so much that he's like, absolutely use it for your class. So, shot on Alexa Mini. But when you go through this project, you're going to see. So you would think that, hey, man, this should be super simple, right? It's like all shot, like, with the same camera, same environment. No, it's not. It's you have to understand shot matching is a B. It's a big B. Like you have to understand how to attack it and what kind of planning that is required before you even get into start shot matching and color grading. So all of that is in this module. Then we move on to color grading, and that is just fun. Like I don't blame you guys for skipping all those other steps to get to this, because ultimately this is where everybody wants to end up, right? Like ultimately we want to make the Revenant look. Like if somebody asks us, hey Kazi, can you get me the Joker look? I go, sure can. Like, of course I can get you a Joker look. To get to that point and be that comfortable and confident takes time, and you can't skip any other steps to get to this level, right? So I mean, you can't graduate without getting taking all your classes. So that's what's so important, that you have to cover all those other things to get to this point. But then this is very rewarding. And then in my course, I'm going to show you how to create the Sicario look, like super popular looks, John Wick look. This is the John Wick look that you're looking at, and I'm going to show you how to create those. And obviously you're going to be able to practice along. So that's a big difference compared to you watching it, my videos on YouTube, or doing it here. And all the things that are going into it is just much more involved. Finally, studio setup. I mean, this kind of stuff comes very natural to me because I come from a technical background. I went to, I almost got my degree as a network engineer. So I went to school for it, and always been a crazy nerd when it comes to technology. I'm a gearhead. So this stuff comes natural to me. Plus, I like to spend a lot of money on gear and just buy anything and everything, and then try to sell it to my wife by saying that I needed it. You know what I'm talking about. Like all the dudes probably know exactly what I'm talking about. So we all do that. So I'm getting better at it. I'm doing it less and less because it's stupid. You got to grow out of it. But you know what I'm talking about. So studio setup, I'm gonna share how to build your studio regardless of your budget. I mean, whether you're starting out, whether you're somebody who's in between, whether you're somebody where you're just like, I don't know what the hell to do with my money, then I will help you build that studio step by step. I mean, I'm talking like I have a whole thing open, like all the tabs where you can just go and just click, like add things to your cart. So all that is covered in studio setup. Again, guys, like link for the freelance for the masterclass is in the description. YouTube, it's in the description if you want to check it out. 4 hours left. Instagram, link to the masterclass is in the bio. Definitely check out. Definitely join. YouTube, Instagram, all of you, everybody that's listening should join. And when you guys do join, DM me on Instagram and reach out to me through my email on YouTube, or join me on Instagram and then reach out to me, because that's the best way. That's the fastest way to get a hold of me. And I always reply back to people through a voice message. So, I mean, it's anyone who's on here can attest to that. I mean, I'm on it. I'm on it. I don't care. Like, I barely sleep. So I'm always available, and I'll help you through anything, whether you get the class or not. But I'm always available. I'm always there. And then definitely when you're on the site, do watch this video. I mean, what filmmakers around the world are saying. And these guys were freaking amazing. I love these guys so much. I mean, they killed it. They shot this stuff for me, sent it over to me, and I just had to like turn it into like a little reel of testimonials, and I threw it together, and it's just so amazing. And it's such a humbling experience to know the kind of results people are getting, because the class has been out long enough now, for over 6 months, that finally now, more than just like, this is really amazing and this changed my life, now finally people are just like, hey, because of this, I was able to quit my job and do this full time. Because of this, this happened, that happened. So now we actually have real results coming in, which is just, I mean, that's the whole reason why I started doing it. So I'm just so glad that it's changing people's lives. It's helping so many people. 30-day money-back guarantee. You guys already know this. So take the class, use me and abuse me on day 29. If you just all of a sudden start hating me, ask me for your money, boom, you'll have it before you even ask. I don't know how that's possible, but you get my point. So, I mean, that's what I'm talking about, guys. Definitely look into it. Definitely join. 4 hours left. I would love to see you guys in there. Let me see if I have any other notes, but other than that, hopefully this was helpful. I mean, that's it. Those are the tips. I mean, practical advice for colorists. I mean, if you, on Instagram, you guys have 24 hours to listen to this. So if you want to go back and listen to it, definitely do it. Or you guys can go to my YouTube channel and watch it. It's going to be there, forever. I'll leave it on. Love you guys. Thank you so much for showing up. And just remember, and one other tip that I always talk about, but I'm going to say it again, is just say yes. Like, genuinely, like I don't like to do the BS, like rah, let me be your, motivational coach. But I'm just saying, like, unless you're booked, like you have 5 things on your schedule a day, just say yes. Just commit to things and then work it out later. Just say yes first and figure it out later. Like, this whole week, I was pushing my masterclass, and I worked on 2 projects while I was doing that. And I was spending time with the family. So, and I threw an Oscar party. So what I'm saying is that once you come from that attitude and you have the yes attitude, like a real yes, not just like a fake yes, like, yes, I'm in, I'm sold, I'm here. Like, once you have that, people will see that, feel that energy, and then things become very easy. Then that's when people just go, everything just works out for this guy. Like, things just work out for him. And it's not like it just works out for somebody. They put in the work. They've been, persistent. They've been doing something for a long time, and then they do it so effortlessly that, to the outside world, it just looks like, well, of course, So on that note, love you guys. Just remember, work hard, get obsessed, get possessed. That's the name of the game. And on that note, I will see you guys in another live. Love you, IG. Love you, YouTube.